So I've gone ahead and made a new account for this website called CodeAcademy, and I'm going to do a little walkthrough with you guys. I'm going to go up to and completing the tip calculator. So if you guys are having any trouble, you can just watch this video, refer back to the parts, which I'm going to list in the description. Okay, so the instructions here just saying if you're ready to learn Python, and yes I am, so click save. Okay. And okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about variables. So yes, we're storing variables, we're storing a piece of data with these variables. And so for example, in this one, variable spam, which they've defined here, is going to be equal to 5. And they want us to assign my variable to 10. So I'll do that here on the second line of this script. So I'll go my variable, and I'll set that equal to 10, and I'll hopefully get this right. And I might make a few mistakes, and hopefully you guys will learn the debugging process as I make more mistakes. And we're being asked to set these variables to these different kinds of values. This is a Boolean, and we have floating integers, so on and so forth. So my int is going to be equal to 7. My float is going to be equal to 1, 2. And my bool now equal to true. Oh, capital T. Good. Alright, and here we're going to be talking about reassigning variables, which we can do perfectly fine in Python. And so we're going to change my int from 7 into 3 without erasing that part. So cool. And now we're going to be talking about formatting text, white space more specifically, and we just want to hit save and click, or save and submit code for right now. Right? So let's see, here's our next lesson. Let's examine this area from the last lesson. Okay. So yep, we're just going to want to have 4 spaces to indent to show this is part of this. So this is as part of the top part. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Okay, cool. So we're going to be talking about assigning things to Boolean values, I think. Okay, so basically assigning, right? So spam is going to be equal to true, and eggs are going to be equal to false. But of course with capital starting letter, equal comments, and we're going to be talking about comments here. What comments do, they have no real purpose. They just help you with defining things that are not part of the actual code. So if you type in stuff in the comments, they're not going to appear when you actually execute the code. So let's make something. Let's call it, hey, save and submit code. Submit code. Oh, okay. So single line comments are a little different from multi-line comments, and for multi-line comments, we're gonna have this setup. We're gonna have 3 of these things, space, 3 of these things. That was 4. Okay. And I'm gonna have a multi-line comment, and I'll say something like save and submit code, and I'll have reset code and code added. And all of this will not be executed as a code, of course, because this is a comment. Alright, let's go on to some math calculations, or some math operators, and we will have count2 equal to the sum of 2 big numbers. We can choose any two big numbers. What about 400 and plus 6.79, or 679. Okay, we can also use exponents. So we can set eggs equal to, say, 8 to the power of 64. Or, oh, never mind. I wasn't reading. I wasn't reading this. I said it's just some random number. It has to be 10 to the whatever power to equal 100, and if you know from basic logarithms, which I've talked about in Algebra 2, we should know this is 10 space to the power of 2. Okay, so modulo simply talks about the remainders after a division. So we want to have 2 numbers that will give us a remainder of 1, and I can do some really simple stuff like 3 modulo 2. So how about that? 3 modulo 2. Of course, spaces. I'll have some spaces to make some nice and neat code. Alright, cool. Now let's bring all of what we learned together, and in line 1 I'm going to have a single line comment and call this random comment. Right? Cool. And line 2 I'm going to set the variable Monty equal to true. Monty true. And on line 3 I'm going to set Python equal to 1.234. Fourth line, let's set Monty underscore Python, if I spell this correctly, equal to Python squared. So let's have Python square that. Cool. And now on to our final section before I close up this lesson. And so here we're just being told how this is our meal. We went to a nice restaurant. We got a $44.50 meal. We're gonna have to pay some tax and some tip. So let's declare meal as equal to 44.50 because that's our cost of the meal, and of course we're assigning variables. Let's do that. And cool. So now what I want to do is I want to set tax is equal to the decimal value of 6.75, and this is because we cannot just register 6.75%. And in this case, we know that if you know your basic decimals, it should be, hopefully I get this right. Alright, cool. And of course we're going to have to set tip as equal to the decimal value of 15% because we're paying a 15% tip. And so if we move it 2 places to the left, that's 0.15. Cool. And now we're going to reassign a single line. Okay, yeah, we are doing something that we talked about in our previous steps back. We talked about reassigning variables, and I went through that very quickly, and I apologize if you didn't quite get it, but of course it's in the description. So let's reassign meal as equal to meal plus the tax of meal. So of course this should give us our output, and now we're just defining variables. And now what we want to do is we want to finish up with our total cost. And so we're going to have total as our new variable, and I'm assuming that we're going to have total equal to meal as equal to the tip, right? Because meal right now includes just like the taxes and the food itself, so we're going to add a tip. So not meal, but total as equal to meal plus meal times tip, right? And I hope you enjoyed this lesson.